Yeah, well, in this preliminary hearing, the judge is reviewing the evidence to decide if there's enough to move forward with the trial. Tyler Robinson still hasn't entered a plea. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty.
I'm excited that the evidence was presented to the world. I believe that it's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was the one that committed this crime.
Over a 5-day preliminary hearing, the prosecution laid out key evidence against Tyler Robinson. They played an interview with Robinson's former roommate and romantic partner, detailing a conversation that took place after Charlie Kirk was murdered.
He started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it.
The prosecution also revealed they've collected 16 hours of surveillance video, where Robinson is seen on the Utah Valley University campus 4 times on the day of the fatal shooting.
I think probable cause was established in probably the most profound way possible. And I'm excited that the world get a chance to see what the truth is and that Charlie can get some justice.
Robinson has not entered a plea. Instead of speaking directly on his guilt or innocence, the defense tried to poke holes in the evidence presented. They questioned the reliability of DNA investigators say links Robinson to the suspected murder weapon.
It's reasonable to assume that anyone living in the household could have contributed to DNA on an object found in that household. There was degradation present in some of the samples.
Robinson, who turned himself into authority the day after Kirk's shooting, declined to take the stand during the hearing.
We have advised Mr. Robinson of his right to testify at this hearing, and he is choosing to take our advice and not testify.
Well, we were supposed to get a ruling from the judge today. That won't happen now until after more oral arguments on September 1st. Legal experts say from what they've seen so far, the evidence is overwhelming. Reporting live in the newsroom tonight, I'm Molly McBride for Arizona's Family.